Hey everyone, so today I have a little story for you all. Now first of all, if you're not familiar with synchronicity, serendipity, kind of fate, the law of attraction, manifestation, I'm going to leave down in the comments below some literature and stuff that you can go ahead and dive deeper into. I'm going to be talking about twin flames and just a lot of stuff on the spiritual realm. So if you're not super into that or you don't really know what I'm talking about, that might be helpful to kind of guide you through all of this and kind of give you some understanding. But I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Just get ready. It is a wild ride and a very interesting story, I will say, if I do say so myself. A really full circle moment, which I think is a lot of what synchronicity and serendipity and kind of fate and destiny tie into. There are just definite signs in my life that have pointed back to certain moments, people, places, times, and when I put all the pieces together, it's really encouraging and also really, really crazy to think about how many different things I think are all interconnected. I am a strong believer that the universe wants to help us all and wants to give us signs and signals that we're on the right path, that we're doing the right thing, and that we are just kind of in the flow. And I think especially when you're being a good person, you have good karma, good things are going to come back to you. And the more that you trust and believe in the universe, I think the more signs and signals that you can receive that you're, doing the right thing. So with that being said, I'm jumping right into the story. Now this story actually takes place back when I was 13, 14, right at the beginning of my YouTube channel. I was in 8th grade and I actually was trying out for my high school cheerleading team. I had been doing cheer since I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and by this time I had been cheering with some girls for that long, which was, a long time in my young life. And I was getting really excited to go into high school, try out for the team. Ended up what happened was I didn't make the team, and every other girl who tried out ended up making it. I was the only one who didn't make it. And at the time, it was insanely devastating. It was something that I felt like was what I was supposed to be doing, and I just did not understand why something that I wanted so badly, that I'd put so much effort into, so much work, and just so much of my emotion and my heart into, why it didn't work out. And I really felt like it was unfair. I was really hurt, and at that time, a lot of the older girls in high school were pretty mean to me, honestly. So being in middle school and kind of coming into that new age, it was something where I was really excited about it, and then I was just completely devastated. And at that point, it sounds dramatic now, but it was probably the most difficult and trying time in my life. And if you know anything about synchronicity, a lot of times signals and signs from the universe come out when we're going through difficult times, because those are times when we're really tapped into the universe. We have a lot of emotion flowing, and those are times when you can be kind of guided, especially if you are grateful to the universe and you're open to it. So something crazy that happened was not even a week later, I got an email, and this was again very early on in my YouTube career, and I got an email from the Hearst Corporation, which is what owns 17 magazine, and they wanted to fly me out to New York to have me photograph and film for the magazine. And I was completely shocked and really excited. I ended up going there, and I was, 14. I had never been to New York at this point, and they flew me out. I shot for the magazine, and then from then on, I actually went on to have a partnership with them for many, many years. I was in the magazine numerous times, got to do some really cool events, meet some really cool people, and just have this experience that when I looked back at it was so much greater and more incredible for me specifically than it would have been if I had made the cheerleading team in high school. That was just something that changed the entire trajectory and guide of my life. And at the time, it was such a hard moment to live in. And I have found that has been so true for me. When things are really difficult and hurtful and hard to understand, I kind of relish in that, because I know that means that something good is going to come out of it. And I wholeheartedly believe that if you are going through a difficult time or you're in a hard space, to know that there is some silver lining to take away. There's something you can learn, something you can earn, and something that you can ultimately look back on and kind of understand why things work the way that they do. The world does work in mysterious ways, and I think it really does favor the grateful. So with that being said, going to New York, I ended up actually having a meetup in New York City, and this was in Times Square. And again, I was about 15 years old. I've been working with 17 magazine for about a year at this point, and I was just so excited to meet some of my viewers. I had no idea how big and hectic and crazy it actually was going to be. So many girls showed up. They were taking pictures, we were talking, we were hugging. It was just really magical to actually meet my viewers in person, to put a face to the name, and to have girls tell me that I was inspiring them, I was helping them, I was, just something important in their life and someone that made them feel some sort of special way was more than I really could fathom at that point, and it still does humble me to this day. But I think especially at that point, coming out of a circumstance of, you know, maybe being bullied and having difficult times when I was younger, and then to, you know, be at this meetup and just be surrounded with so much positivity and love was so overwhelming. And I remember one thing that happened was a girl brought me a book. And this is the book that she bought me. It's called Love in the Time of Cholera, and her name was Camilla, and she actually did go ahead and write me a little letter inside of this book. Now remember, this is a book that I was given when I was 15 years old, and she wrote, "Dear Megan, I hope you will love this book as much as I do. You and your videos are a really big inspiration for me. Wish you all the best and all the love of the world. I cannot wait to see you in Italy next time. Thank you for everything, Camilla." And so she obviously was from Italy, and she was visiting New York City. She came to my meetup, gave me this wonderful book. Now, you have to tell you guys something. I never read this book. I kept it all these years. It's been almost 10 years. And I kept it just in my closet, and I never read it, never opened it. Honestly, never really thought about it past that point. So moving forward, you know, a few years later in my life, another time when I was really kind of searching for answers, searching for understanding, purpose, destiny, all that kind of stuff, I ended up on a whim going to Toronto for a music festival, and I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that. I had the most amazing time. I ended up actually staying in Toronto for almost a month. I just had so much fun, met so many cool people, so many amazing things were happening. It was like the right place at the right time. I was meeting these really special people. I was having these experiences. I was doing things that were outside of my comfort zone, and I felt like I was just connecting with a deeper level of myself. And something about synchronicity and serendipity and all that kind of stuff is when you are being the best version of yourself, it also is so much easier for the universe to reward you and for you to be in flow, because you are in flow of your true destiny, your divine passion, your fate. And when you are in line with that, things end up working out better for you. That's just how it is, and that's kind of the magic of it all. So I remember being there, and I remember wanting to understand why all these really good things were happening to me. I was so grateful, and I was so just overwhelmed by it, and I wouldn't say skeptical, but I also didn't want it to end. I was like, I am so happy in these moments. I want to feel like this forever. I want to keep whatever magic or special times or whatever is happening. I know I sound crazy, but that's how I felt at the time. And with that, I actually ended up researching, what does it mean when good things are happening to you? Strange coincidences, things that just cannot be explained, things that are just so, you know, specific to that time and moment and place that, like, how is this actually real? How is this going on? How is this happening to me? And what I found was the word serendipity. And it basically said that serendipity is finding something good without searching for it. I think it's very heavily tied into synchronicity. They're very kind of similar words. And just that, you know, when you are in the flow of good things, good karma, positive energy, manifesting good things into your life, I think you attract things and you find things, you stumble across them. So immediately once I found the word serendipity, I connected with it so heavily. I just felt this intuition that I wanted this as a tattoo on my body. This was a word that I felt like encompassed everything that I was going through, all these amazing changes and transformations, and I just really connected to it. So I decided to go get it tattooed on myself, and I found a tattoo artist. I went in. I was really nervous that I actually wasn't going to be able to get an appointment because he was a really good artist in Toronto, and he normally was very booked up, but they had a cancellation. I was able to get in like immediately. And I remember thinking back on it honestly, if I had to wait like a day or a week or even a few hours, I don't know if I would have gone through with it. But because it was in that moment, I was in that feeling, I just knew that I wanted it and I knew that it was right. And so I went ahead and got serendipity written in this gorgeous script that I picked out, this placement on the arm and everything. And yeah, I mean, I'm honestly very close with that tattoo artist still to this day. He's an amazing guy, really, really talented, and just a really cool person. And I remember after that, I actually went and met up with a friend of mine in Toronto, and I wanted to show him my new tattoo because he is heavily tattooed. And I showed him, and he was like, "Oh, Serendipity, that is one of my favorite movies." And at that moment, I was like, "What? What do you mean, movie?" Like, I had no clue what he was talking about. And he's like, "Yeah, there's a movie called Serendipity. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it." But that's how I know of that word. That's where I kind of tie it to. And so obviously once I got back to the US, I decided to watch the movie Serendipity, which is a really cute movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely go ahead and check it out. It's very Christmassy themed, and at that point I thought it was really cool. The idea of it is basically this girl meets a guy and they really hit it off, everything's great, but she believes in destiny and serendipity and fate and all that kind of stuff. And she's about to give the guy her phone number, and as she does this, a gust of wind comes and her phone number flies up in the air, and he's like, oh my gosh, like that was crazy, give me your number again. And she says, no, nothing is coincidence. That was supposed to happen. Maybe you're not supposed to have my number, we're not supposed to be together, that's the way it is. And the guy is like, this is crazy, like we just had this most amazing time together, how could you do this? And she says, no, I trust the universe, I trust what happens, and I'm going to write my name in a book, and I'm going to leave it in a used bookstore, and if you find it with my number in it, you can call me and we can be together. And so that's the premise of the movie. Obviously I'm not going to spoil the whole thing for you. So I watched that a few years ago, thought it was really cute, definitely like resonated with it, liked it, all that kind of stuff. So fast forward a bit beyond there, I still am really trying to kind of hone in on my spirituality, understand all this kind of stuff, and the more and more that I care about it, look into it, research it, the more things happen. You know, just these crazy circumstances keep popping up in my life. A lot of people have synchronistic things go on, like certain numbers that they'll see all the time, or songs, or even like imagery, certain dreams, like whatever it is personal to you. So that's why this can be a little difficult to relay in a story, because something that triggers an emotion and a feeling to me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to resonate for you, because it's not on your journey of your own path, your divine destiny, your fate, all of that stuff. I think that's also kind of the magic of it, because it really is a journey that you have to take for yourself. I think it's something you have to do when you're ready, when you're open to it, and when you are able to have your heart and mind and body and soul be receptive to the universe, and to listen to the signs, to understand the signals, and to really trust in them. And I've been doing this the past few years, and like I said, the more that I do it, the more that I'm rewarded and given back, and the more things that I can just look back on and be like, my mind is blown. This is crazy. I can connect it to this time and this thing. And a lot of it is that all moments, past, present, and future, they are connected, and there are certain things that, you know, will happen in a moment where you won't really know what it means or what it's going to do, and it may be something that you need to wait a few years down the line to truly go back to and resonate with and understand and kind of put the pieces together. And I think that's why I love it so much, because it's almost like a puzzle for your mind. You know, you can look back on certain situations and say, you know, if that didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have gone here, wouldn't have met this person, wouldn't have done this, and it's a huge web of your own destiny and your fate in your life, and I think it's really, really cool. So with that being said, I've gone on, lived my life, and up about 6 months ago, I was going through a very interesting time. Just a really, honestly, like a time of self-discovery. I was learning a lot about myself. I was really trying to better myself, figure myself out, understand what I want, what I need, what makes me happy, what doesn't, all that kind of stuff. And that can be painful and hard, and it can be very trying for sure to really deeply look at yourself, analyze things, and truly try to get to know yourself at the core of your being. It's not an easy thing, and I think a lot of people go their entire lives without ever doing this work, because it's not simple, it's not always fun, and it's not always enjoyable, but I do think that it's really enriching to focus on yourself and what you want, and to try to better yourself, honestly, to live every day as if you could be a better person, and to do everything in your own power that you can to accomplish those goals, and to do that, and then to kind of see your life unfold, and like the karma that's rewarded to you, and the amazing things and people and places and all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, 6 months ago, like I said, I was kind of, you know, open in my mind to understanding things a bit deeper, to wanting to go a bit deeper. And I ended up having this dream that was honestly a monumental moment. But if I look back, a lot of these other moments were very monumental as well. And maybe in the time that it's happening, they don't seem that way. But when you kind of resurface back around, you can really see it. But for whatever reason, I knew that something about this dream was different. The feeling and the emotion that I had in this dream was something I've never felt in my entire life. The love and the comfort, and that's what it was. I think it was a comfort. There was some sense of reassurance and understanding in this dream where I was with this person that I don't know. I've never met this person. I don't know anyone that fits the physical being of this person, and they had a very specific look to them and some specific characteristics that I'll keep private just for my own sake, but there were certain things about this person that I don't know, when I woke up from the dream, I honestly was sad. And like for a full week straight, I couldn't shake this feeling. I felt like I had lost someone, or like someone had passed, or like something had happened to this person that I had only known in my dream, and then when I woke up they were gone. And that was such a weird feeling for me, and I ended up deciding to go ahead and research it online because it was bothering me so much. And I actually found out a lot of really interesting stuff about twin flames. Now this is something I would love to make an entire video about. It's a lot. Please look it up if you're interested. Basically, a twin flame is someone that is connected with you through your soul. It's someone that is kind of like a mirror reflection of you and everything you need to work on. A lot of the inner workings of yourself and of your being, and just things that you lack, they are able to kind of mirror and show you. It's really fascinating, interesting stuff. A lot of people equate a twin flame to a soulmate because the connection and intensity you feel with them is unlike anything you felt with anyone else. It doesn't always have to be romantic, but most of the time it is. But a lot of times you don't actually end up with your twin flame because that connection and that meeting and just those emotions you have for each other are so intense that a lot of people are scared by it. They can't really deal with it. They don't want to deal with it because the whole idea of it is that this person sees you for who you really are. Like the good, the bad, the ugly, the hard, the difficult, every part of your being, this person sees you for that, and you heal yourself with them, kind of. They don't complete you, but they inspire you to complete yourself. And there's a lot to it. It's really cool, romantic, whatever. Anyways, when I was researching, I was reading that it's very common to dream of your twin flame before you meet them. And this is something that has been widely noted that this happens, and then people meet this person that fits the mold of the person they dreamed of. Okay, so obviously when this happened, my mind was blown because I'm like, wow, if I could ever meet the person that I knew in my dream, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it just was an otherworldly feeling that I've never had in my entire life. So I actually ended up then getting invited to Coachella, which I was really excited about, but also a little bit nervous. Something out of my comfort zone again, and I feel like the most incredible, monumental moments always happen for me when I'm doing something that I'm pushing myself to do, something that I'm a little bit nervous about, just like the meetup, just like doing 17 magazine, just like going to Coachella. So I go there and I meet this person, and I think that they actually fit the mold of this person in my dream. There are a lot of different like characteristics that are very similar, and a few, months go by, whatever, and I asked the universe, with this person, there were a lot of signals within songs. We actually connected over a band that we both liked, and then this song kept like coming up like everywhere we would go when we were together, and it was very weird, like in an Uber, in a bar, wherever, this same song. It's not a current song, a very old song, very specific song. So song was something that was very heavily connected to this person, and in my being I ended up asking the universe, give me a sign if this is not the right person. I need to know if this is not the person that was in my dream that I was supposed to meet, and not even in a romantic way, but just in a way of bettering myself. Like for me to complete the journey of self-discovery and becoming the person I ultimately want to be, I wanted to know this. So after I did that, I went to Las Vegas, and I got a very clear sign that this person wasn't the person in my dream. When I was in the Uber, a U2 song came on, and the line that I really connected with was, "I still haven't found what I'm looking for." Then later that night when we're in Las Vegas, we go to a speakeasy, and we go in through this barbershop, and we open the doors, and there's a huge band that's playing, a live band. And the first song that they play, of any song that they could play in Vegas, like literally they could play any song, they were incredibly talented, they start playing this U2 song. That says, "And I still haven't found what I'm looking for." And so at that point I was like, all right, this is pretty clear. I come home from Las Vegas and I go to get my nails done, and I'm in the nail salon, and the song that plays, U2, "And you still haven't found what I'm looking for." I'll put the lyrics and stuff if you want to go below. And I just was like, okay, if this is as clear as day, this is something. Now, when I actually got back from Vegas, something interesting that happened was while I was there was one night when I was out in a club, and I remember feeling this overwhelming sense of sadness and just like a weird withdrawal and like feeling like something wasn't right. Come to find out, actually, a good friend of mine passed away very tragically, very suddenly. And this happened while I was in Las Vegas, and I didn't find out till a few days later once I was back home. And once I found out, the timing and everything of it, it corresponded very heavily with that moment when I was in that club at night and when I was just overwhelmed with this feeling of something was wrong and something was just not making me happy. And I remember sitting there with my friends, we were all drinking, listening to music, and I just there was this sadness that overcame me, and I don't know why. And it was really crazy then to put that back into perspective when I got home and kind of heard about everything. And that person was someone that someone very, very important to me at a time in my life when I was learning to love myself, accept myself, understand myself. I feel like they taught me a lot about love and just about understanding, and just they were someone that definitely shaped me as the person that I am. Oh my goodness, 100% like someone that, had I never met them and had the experiences that I did with them, I would not be the person that I am. And a lot of you say that I'm compassionate and I'm kind and gentle and I care about others, and I really believe in my being that this person is kind of what showed me that. And to hear that they passed away was just it was really a tough time, and I never talked about this stuff. I've lost quite a few people actually that are close to me in my life, you guys know that, but when this happened 6 months ago, it really I was in a place of wanting to understand stuff and wanting to connect with the universe and just having some solace and some peace. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine after this had happened, and I was looking out the window, and at that moment I saw 5 cardinals on a tree. And I felt so overwhelmed because I was speaking about this person with a friend, and seeing that vision of the cardinals, I didn't know what that meant or anything, honestly, but I just felt some calling to look it up, and I decided to. And when I looked it up, it actually said that cardinals are very territorial birds. They don't necessarily always get together in a big flock like that. It's pretty rare. And people were saying that they are known to be a sign and signal of an angel, someone that is a loved one that has passed, that's reaching out to you to just tell you that they're with you always and they're going to guide you. And I remember feeling this overwhelming sense of peace and understanding that I was being guided in some way, and that I was going to trust the universe and understand that, I would make sense of things and that everything would be okay and it would never be the same. But at the same time, I needed to go on and feel like I could trust in my own intuition and my own guides and all that kind of stuff. So that was just a very reassuring moment, and from that day I vowed to just believe in what I feel to be something that strikes my heart. Whenever something makes me feel that, I don't question it and I don't think it's crazy. I just go with it and run with it. So fast forward to a few days ago, I was looking for a movie to watch, and I'm someone that likes to watch movies I've already seen. I know that's very weird, but I like to do it. So I went onto iTunes and I pulled down the little romance section, and one of the movies that was suggested was Serendipity, that movie that I had watched years and years ago. So I pulled it up and I decided to watch the trailer, and as I was watching the trailer, because I had watched it years ago, kind of forgot what all happened, whatever, the girl pulls out the book from the used bookstore that she is going to write her phone number in. And the book that she pulls out, that they show on the screen in the trailer, is Love in the Time of Cholera. And in that moment, again, I felt this surge through my heart, through my being of, oh my gosh, I have that book. I was given that years ago at something that was very important to me, that first meetup that was in a very monumental moment in my life. And I got up and I literally ransacked my entire room. I searched high and low for it, and I was so worried that I was confused and it was a different book, or I didn't have it anymore or something. And I found it in my closet, and the minute I grabbed it, I honestly burst into tears, because there's a connection there that I was able to make. In that moment, I was just wanting to watch a movie of all the movies in the world to like just watch that trailer just because I wanted to. Like there was no reason to. I wasn't thinking I was going to connect to anything in it. And that's why it's crazy, because back when I first watched it years ago, I had already had the book, but I made no connection to it. My mind was not in a place where I was wanting to understand the signs and signals of my life, and I was connecting to them and open to them and just, you know, being receptive to that guidance. And so if you are Camilla, who gave me this book almost 10 years ago in New York City, I would love to talk to you, because I would love to know why this book. You know, I would love to understand, of every book you could have given me in the world, why this book? Because the fact that it ties into that movie Serendipity, which ties in so heavily to my tattoo, which ties in so heavily to something else and someone else and all other stuff, which I can't get into that kind of stuff just because it does relate to other people, and it's just, you know, whatever. Eventually, I hope, honestly, like, my life will get to a point where I can, like, tell the full story of everything with, like, so much detail and stuff. I think it would, like, blow y'all's mind, because it blows my mind every single day. But, yeah, this is just my plea to understand, why did you give me this book? Because there are just some really crazy connections that I'm making from when I was given this at a really difficult time in my life to now, when I'm, you know, I'm insanely happy and I feel really fulfilled and blessed and understood and grateful. And I honestly feel like I am so in the right headspace and in the right place in my life, more than I ever have in my entire life. And it's just weird, because a lot of it ties back to the tattoo, that ties back to the movie, that ties back to this book. But I was already given this book years prior, but I was given it at a time in my life when I was really searching for answers, to even my friend, and to just understanding how all this kind of stuff works. So, wow, this was an emotional ride. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I urge you to research synchronicity, serendipity, manifestation, twin flames. Those are kind of the key topics that I went over. I know it was a lot. I know it was in depth and deep. But yes, I wish you guys all the best. I hope that you all will be blessed and happy. Continue to give out positive energy, good karma, be a good person, and I promise that will come back for you. And trust in the universe, trust that everything will work out for you the way it's supposed to. And if you ever want to talk to me about this, I love to nerd out about it on Instagram. You can feel free to DM me. And yes, I'm just wishing you guys all positive, happy vibes. I love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.